Guys, Rob with Expedition Team Overland. We're here doing a brake install on my Jeep with the big tires and the way the Jeep runs the ABS and the all their controls. The rear brakes are pretty toast. Unfortunately, like I said, I only have 20,000 miles, 26,000 miles, something like that on it. But so there's a lot of different options to go with. I weighed all the options and the cost, and Power Stop full brake kit on Amazon was a little over $300. I'll have a link in the description. For what I want to do, I think this is the best bang for the buck. It's just my opinion. So there's no different changes. All it is pads and rotors, and we're going to adjust the parking brake on the rear. So, all right. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to be doing the front brakes first. So we got to jack up the vehicle. So first, safety thing is we're going to chalk both rear tires. These are just regular tire chalks that you get at your local auto store. All right. So first we're going to be doing the front. The front axle, we're going to be lifting from the axle. Front is a little bit trickier to lift because the differential is offset on the driver's side just a little bit. So you have to lift up on the differential to get the driver's side up. Put a jack stand underneath, and then we're going to jack up on the other side to then get the passenger side. There.
Dude, your front pads are not bad at all. It's crazy how when you wipe it down, you see how the coating's coming off. You can kind of see it.
Okay.
Alright, so now that you have your caliper bracket off, you're going to take a little grinder with a Scotch-Brite pad or something similar, clean up this area so when your new slides go on, they lock in place, lay flat, so that way it allows the brake pad to slide. And make sure when you're putting these on that the taller side is going against the back and this ridge is hanging over that lip. And make sure you're snapped all the way down and sitting flush. And on your caliper slides, you always want to pop these out. Make sure they're clean of debris. Clean all that up and re-grease. That way your caliper is actually moving freely and not locking up on you.
So this kit came with brand new boots, full kit of everything you need, so it's a really good kit.
All new grease on the slides here. Make sure everything's running real smooth. And also when you put these back in, make sure that locks back into that rubber boot. You don't want any contamination getting back inside there. Moving freely, good to go. Ready to reassemble. And when you're pushing your calipers back in, you always want to make sure that you take off your cap so you don't build pressure inside this and blow this out. And then when you're pushing your caliper back in, what I like to do is just take an old brake pad, lay it in there so that way you get even pressure pushing in on this. You don't want to use something like this inside the caliper or anything like that because you can crack it. So then we're just going to take it in real slow. Make sure we're going in nice and even. This one's going in very easy. And you don't want to smash it in there either. You just want to get it in. Something like that, so that way you can slide it up over the new rotor. Alright, so on these Jeeps, this is your wear indicator. This is going to go on the back side at the top. So just make sure you're doing it just the same way they came off. And then also on the back one, Always lube these up. This is where it's going to slide inside those brackets that we replaced. You don't need to go crazy on these. Just a little bit of lube helps them slide and helps them so they don't rust and everything else. And then I also always do a little bit back here so that way you don't get built up and stick to your caliper. When you set these in here, you always want to make sure they slide freely inside those. Make sure you're not grabbing as you're coming out and twisting inside there. You want to go back and forth very smooth. And same with this outside pad. Always lube these up. Like I said, you don't have to go crazy. Just get a good bit on there. Same thing with this pad though. You want to make sure you're moving real free. And then we're good to go.
Let's have a little bit of Loctite on. $14 needle on those pliers.
13, I can use this.
Want me to hold the pliers?
Yeah, actually.
Alright guys, now we're here on the rear. The rear to jack up is significantly easier because the differential is in the center of the vehicle. So move the chocks from the rear to the front, put my jack under the rear diff, and just jack it up. We put the jack stands as close on the outer side of the axle. And when you release it, you just release it nice and slow. And we're done.
Wow, this one does not work.
So from the factory, these come with these retainer clips. So you just have to take them off. I guess to put them on the factory to hold the drum on. So what I found that works is a miniature flathead screwdriver and a pair of side clips. Break them off. The fronts had 2. So far the rears have 4.
I mean, you're not terrible. There's still probably half left for your parking shoes.
Okay.
Oh man, same thing. Alright guys, so what we're going to do next is we're going to be adjusting these parking shoes here. So to adjust that, all you have to do, there's a little, they call it like a star nut, or what you're going to do is you're going to rotate that back or forth to open or close these. So to get it set correctly, since we don't have the actual tool to measure, what you're going to do is slide your rotor on, make sure you're centered up, locked in place, and then spin the rotor. If you can hear that, there's a little bit of grinding from the inside. So what we're going to have to do is actually rotate those pads back down so they're not rubbing. What you want is to have that parking shoe just barely not rubbing. So when you engage the parking brake, it'll come up and it'll lock the inside of this rotor. So we're going to take this back off and adjust this back down. You only want to go a couple clicks at a time because it doesn't take much. Still rubbing. Alright guys, so what we're going to do to back this off now, we're going to take this and rotate backwards. Alright, let's try that, see where that gets us. Getting better. Alright guys, so if you put your rotor on and you're rotating and you hear it grinding and kind of catching, what you're going to want to do is take the start nut and turn it towards the center diff. That is going to take these and squeeze them down. And if you were to go from this side and rotate it back this way, that would allow it to open back up. So what you want, like I said, is once you put that rotor on there, you want to be able to spin that rotor and not really hear any noise. And then when you engage your parking brake, these will swell and come up and lock against the inside of the rotor. Alright guys, so we got a slide here that's locked up, seized into the caliper bracket. So what we're going to do is clamp it in the vise and hopefully get it to free up by tapping on this.
Alright guys, so the bracket was beyond repair, so we were able to get the pin out, but there was just a bunch of gunk inside. For 50 bucks at the dealership, we got a whole new bracket, and the bracket came with 2 new pins and the plastic bushings, the rubber bushings, and it was just a better, easier option. So we had to take the other brackets out, put those backings, they did not come with them. So, whole new nice brand shiny new part. Alright guys, we got the Jeep back on the ground. You tighten it up as tight as you can on the with the wheels off, but you want to make sure you use your torque bar. I set mine to 90 psi, 90 foot-pounds. We torque it down in a star pattern, which is every other bolt. Alright guys, we got all the brakes done. Wheels are torqued down to 90 foot-pounds. We pumped the brakes just to get the caliper, the pistons back in alignment. So now I got the power stop instruction manuals here. The next is the break-in process, which you'll be going along with us on. So we're gonna do we're just gonna do it in the street right in front of my house. We got a little bit of a long straightaway. We have to go 5 times, 40 miles an hour, then down to 10. Do that 5 times. Then when that's done, we go 5 times, 35 to 5. And then I'm just going to read what it says. After steps 1 and 2 are complete, drive around slowly for as long as possible without excessively using the brakes and without coming to a complete stop. Try for about 5 minutes at moderate speed. This is the cooling stage. This is what's key. It allows the heated resin in the brakes to cool and cure. So we're going to go around and do the braking period now.
Try to do it right here.
Smell it. It's got a to describe the smell. That's 4. Yeah, you definitely see you have a brake dust smell is what I'm smelling.
Oh yeah.
Just for
It's just burning off the resin and stuff and the coating on the brake rotors and pads. Alright, that's 5. Now do 35 to 5, less aggressive. But I can feel them getting better as we go.
oof, you really smell them.
Oh yeah. Then can we do
Yep.
a loop this way?
Yep. So now we're just doing the 5-minute cool down.
You could feel the brakes progressively bite more and more as you do that, actually.
All right, guys, we're all done. Finished the break-in process. Went fairly smooth. Hardest thing was doing the break-in process. They don't want you to come to a complete stop, but not much you can do in the neighborhood and such like that. But we got to work. Parking brake, we did adjust it. It's a little funky, so I gotta get back into that and get that tuned in a little bit. That's a really, really hard adjustment to get. So that's, and I'm probably one of the only people with an automatic that uses the parking brake, so it's a problem not many people have. Other than that, we're really happy with them. I'll follow up in a couple months with how I feel, you know, a couple thousand miles later. But so far it feels like it's a pretty good upgrade for $300 and gets the job done. So in the link description below, I'll put all the tools you need to do this, along with everything, all the power stop part numbers and all that stuff. So catch you guys later.